Get ready for Nate's Top 10 Films of 2024. Just his opinion, of course.
Hi everyone. It's been a while since I've done a best of the year list. I think the last time I did one was like 2021 or something like that. There were just a lot of movies that came out this year that I wanted to talk about. There was a lot of really interesting movies, some really great ones. I saw 35 movies this year, which to some people might not seem like that many, but to me, it's a fair number. I'm not a person that goes out and seeks bad movies anymore. I know some people do that. They're like, I want to see everything that comes out. I don't necessarily do that anymore. And I'm not knocking anyone who does. Like, that's fine. If you want to go see bad movies, go see bad movies. But it's not something I do anymore. So I guess my movie count at the end of every year would be smaller than someone like Chris Stuckman. I don't know. And there are a few movies that I haven't yet seen this year that I wanted to see. Movies like The Brutalist or Honora I haven't gotten to yet. They're movies that I want to see, but it got to a point where if I waited too long to make this video, it's not going to be relevant anymore. It's like, I don't know. This is the best time for me to record it, just in my personal life as well. Without further ado, let's get to the honorable mentions first before I get to the actual top 10. A Real Pain was a movie I saw last night, actually, by the time I'm recording this video. That was really good. Kieran Culkin is incredible. One of the best performances of the year, I think. Jesse Eisenberg also wrote and directed and starred in the movie, which is very impressive on his part. Furiosa is another movie that I want to give an honorable mention to. It's a shame that we probably won't see another Mad Max film ever again, just because this movie underperformed at the box office. But I thought it was really good. Chris Hemsworth especially blew me away in this movie. He didn't feel like Chris Hemsworth, you know? He felt like he was doing a completely different thing than his normal acting wheelhouse, or whatever you want to call it. At the beginning of the year, I wouldn't have expected Sonic the Hedgehog 3 to be an honorable mention for me, but it honestly is. I thought the first two movies were fine. They were fun, but they were not great at all. This movie is verging towards great. I really liked it. And part of that is because I grew up with this game, and a lot of Sonic the Hedgehog 3 is adapting the story from this game, and just seeing that on screen was something that my younger self never would have conceived. Jim Carrey is also exceptional in this movie. One of the best performances I've seen all year, genuinely. I'm not even kidding, he's so good. Memoir of a Snail was a movie that I didn't know was R-rated, so like going into it, I was like, oh wow, this movie's very adult and very sad, but has a really cool message. Inside Out 2 was a sequel that wasn't as good as the first movie, but it was a really good sequel. I would be up for an Inside Out 3. Kinds of Kindness was like a fever dream. Another really interesting movie by Yorgos Lanthimos that has some amazing talent in it. Like just Emma Stone, Willem Dafoe, and Jesse Plemons in a movie together is kind of mind-blowing. All three of them are some of the best actors working today. Heretic was really good. I'm not someone who is religious anymore, but I had a religious upbringing, so movies that tackle the theme of religion are always really interesting to me, and Heretic didn't disappoint in that front. Smile 2 was a movie I wasn't expecting that much from, because I thought the first movie was fine, but this one kind of blew me away in theaters. I was genuinely terrified coming out of the theater. I was very anxious. And my last honorable mention is a movie called Officer Joey, which is a movie that I made in 2024. So I'm just plugging myself. Click it in the link in the description if you want to watch my movie that I made in 2024. Heck yeah. Alright, now that that's over, we can go to the actual top 10. And here is number 10.
Number 10.
Hundreds of Beavers was a movie that I didn't hear about until like maybe a few weeks ago. I didn't know what it was, but I all of a sudden started seeing all this praise about it. And I was like, I really want to see what this is about. It's a movie that feels like Looney Tunes mixed with silent films mixed with video games, which was really weird. It's a movie that I laughed at consistently, and I feel like it's something I would have loved as a kid too. It's so weird and original and different, and it's so funny. It's not a movie that is deep thematically, it's just something you watch to laugh, and I love movies like that. I love that the filmmakers just went for it and made this weird movie, and I had a blast with it. It was so creative.
Number 9.
Civil War is a movie that I'm surprised I didn't see anyone put on their best of the year list. I think I saw like one best of the year list that had Civil War on it. But I thought Civil War was exceptional. It feels like something that could happen in our future. It is terrifying. Kirsten Dunst in this movie is exceptional, and so is the other main girl in the movie. I forget the actress's name, but she is spectacular in the movie as well. It is not a movie that I've watched a second time. I probably will rewatch it at some point, but it's not an easy movie to watch. It's not. This is not a movie you watch to be entertained. It's a movie that is there to warn you of what our reality could turn into, I suppose, is a good way of putting it. Everyone talks about the Jesse Plemons scene for good reason. It is an exceptional scene, and I love that they got Jesse Plemons in for that. But the rest of the movie is also great. Don't let the Jesse Plemons scene overshadow the rest of the film. All right, this next one is going to piss a lot of people off. You're probably going to click off this video, but I'm going with my guns, and I'm going to say my opinion no matter what.
Number 8.
Joker Folie Deux. Yes, I am not joking. This is a movie that got hated so much, and it got to the point where I wanted to make my own video on it. I did like a video that was like, I don't remember how long it was like 25 minutes or something, where I just kind of analyzed the movie and talked about why I liked it. I also watched it a second time, and I liked it even more. I obviously have it on my best of the year list because I liked it a lot, and it really stuck with me. But I'm not sure if I could even recommend it to people because so many people hated it. I don't want to say like, hey, go watch Joker 2. I don't want people to get pissed at me. Like, it's almost as if I saw an entirely different movie than the rest of the world. I didn't go into this movie expecting comic book accuracy. Because the first movie wasn't accurate to the comics at all. I expected this to be an original thing using some of the Batman mythos, and that's what it was. It was very original and different. And even watching it a second time, I noticed things I didn't notice the first time. Joaquin Phoenix is magnificent. I love Lady Gaga in the movie too. And Brendan Gleeson is really great. Not enough people talk about how good he is in this movie. I don't know. I probably just pissed a lot of people off putting this on my best of the year list, but I feel like maybe in the future it could grow on me even more. Like, I don't know. I'm on Quentin Tarantino's side with this one. Like, I really liked it.
Number 7.
The Wild Robot is one of those movies that's been praised so much that I don't know what else I can say about it. One of the things I like about this movie is that it's about animals and nature. It's just a really heartfelt, great story. And the characters are awesome. Like, Roz is a great character. So is Bright Bill and the Fox and all of them. Like, it has a really great voice cast too. Like, Mark Hamill plays a bear. That's something I never knew that I needed, but when once I saw it, I was like, that's awesome. Like, it's just a great movie. Like, I don't really know what else to say about it. Everything's already been said.
Number 6.
I Saw the TV Glow was really, really good. This is a movie, like, the word I would use to describe this movie is challenging. It's not an entertaining movie. It is a movie that you watch to think. Usually what I do when I watch an artsy movie is that I watch analyses of it right after I've seen it, just so I can try to understand the movie more. But with I Saw the TV Glow, I tried to sleep on it, and I came up with my own interpretations. And it turns out once I talked to people about these interpretations that I was having, they were all like, oh yeah, you're right. Like, they said I was right about all my interpretations. I didn't have to watch any analysis videos, and I was really proud of that. It's a movie that is uncomfortable and, like, like unsettling at times, and that is intentional. But it's also mesmerizing. Like, the feel that this movie evokes was hypnotic. Certainly, if you're not into artsy movies, you probably won't like this one. But if you're ready to be challenged and think about something that you've just watched, I really, really recommend I Saw the TV Glow.
Number 5.
Nosferatu is a movie that so many people have praised. One of the things I was struck by when I saw this movie was just how many great performances are in it. Lily Rose Depp is magnificent here. She's the best performance in the movie. Obviously, Bill Skarsgård as Count Orlok is amazing. I didn't expect him to be the way he was in the movie, and I'm sure if you've seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about. But he's awesome. Willem Dafoe, as always, is amazing. He's one of my favorite actors of all time. Aaron Taylor-Johnson. I forgot to mention Nick Holt. Like, Nicholas Holt is so good. Anything Robert Eggers does, I will watch. He is a master of his craft. I love him so much. I also really like how Robert Eggers kind of delves into fantasy horror, like folklore and stuff like that. Because a lot of that stuff can be scary, and I love how he just goes into that. I don't know if he'll ever make a movie in modern day, and I'm fine with that.
Number 4.
Longlegs is a movie I didn't know anything about until like I saw the trailer, and I was like, Nicolas Cage is in it as a serial killer, but they're not showing his face? What? This was my favorite movie of the year for a while. I had this as number 1. Obviously, things have changed because I saw some more movies as the year went on. This movie was fascinating. Nicolas Cage isn't in the movie that much, but once he's there, he is incredible. But not only that, but Micah Monroe is so good. I keep just praising everyone's performances throughout this video, but it's for a reason. Like, actors are amazing. I love the feeling this movie evokes. I found the mystery fascinating. All the characters had these layers to unravel, especially Micah Monroe's character. There's so much you don't know about why she is the way she is, and then you kind of learn it as the movie goes on, and it's like, oh, that makes sense. It is a fascinating movie. It is, one of those movies that I watch, and I'm like, I wish I made that.
Number 3.
Flow is a movie that got a lot of buzz earlier in the year. Like, everyone was saying this movie is incredible, and then I watched it and I was like, yes, it is. This is so good. Most movies about animals have them talking like humans, and that's fine. There's a lot of great movies that have that. But I always thought, like, hey, animals are interesting too, Just an animal being an animal is interesting. And you can have animals as main characters without them acting like humans. And that's what this movie does. There's not a single line of dialogue in Flow. So it felt like the kind of movie I've always wanted to see, where it just explores animals. Because you can connect and empathize with animals sometimes better than humans. This is a visual film just all about these animals being animals. And I thought that was original and different. And I've always wanted a movie like this. I think they should do a movie like this that's set in like prehistoric times, where it's about like dinosaurs and stuff, where it's just like an accurate portrayal of what that time period was like. What's interesting about Flow is that it's set in like this fictional universe that's shrouded in mystery, and I loved that. It was, the world was fascinating in this movie.
Number 2.
Wicked is one of those movies that is really popular right now. I gotta have a popular movie on this list. What would this be without a popular movie? No pun intended, by the way. But genuinely, I didn't know that much about the Wicked play. My experience with Wizard of Oz goes as far as the original movie from the 30s and the Sam Raimi one with James Franco, which I didn't like all that much. But those are the only Wizard of Oz things that I've experienced. So I always was curious about Wicked and why it was so popular, and I was glad I finally got to experience this story. Obviously, in my brain, I had to separate myself from the original movie from the 30s, because this is a completely different interpretation, Wizard of Oz started as this old series of books, and then Wicked was a book that was like a fan fiction, and then it turned into a play, and then it turned into a movie, and there's all these layers of adaptations that are going on here. I didn't know how deep the themes of this movie were going to go. I knew that there was going to be some sort of themes about racism and discrimination, but it went so much further with those themes than I thought it was going to. It felt very, very relevant. This is a really important movie right now. And I just connected with it so much on that level. Just the themes of discrimination, not just against people of other races, but of other sexualities and, people with disabilities. Like, it explores all that stuff in such a remarkable way. It hit me in all the right areas. Honestly, I think I might like Wicked more than the original 1930s film, which is saying a lot because that movie is a classic. And this is a modern classic. I'm so excited for Wicked Part 2. This is too long of a wait. I need it now.
Number 1.
The way I look at horror movies is that sometimes there are milestones, like horror movies that are very significant. In the 60s, it was Psycho, In the 70s, it was The Exorcist. In the 80s, it was The Shining. In the 90s, it was The Sixth Sense. In the 2010s, there's some debate about what is the significant horror movie of that decade. I would say Hereditary, but Get Out is also up there. In the 2020s, it is The Substance. This movie is incredible. The entire last 30 minutes, my jaw was on the floor. This movie is, I don't even know what to say. It's the best thing ever. Obviously, it has a lot of themes about women in show business and how once you age, you're, kind of cast aside for younger talent. And this movie explores that in the most unusual, insane, creative, original way. Demi Moore winning that Golden Globe was so deserved, and it made me so happy because normally movies like this are not movies that win awards. Like, this would be like if Jack Nicholson won for The Shining. This is, like, unprecedented. I'm sure the Oscars won't do the same thing, but we'll have to see about that. Margaret Qualley is also incredible. They're both so good. I don't think there was a single moment of this movie where I nodded off a little bit. I was constantly fascinated from the opening frame to the last one. This is about as perfect as you can get. Dennis Quaid is also really good as this disgusting producer guy. It's definitely a movie that is in heightened reality. This is not a realistic film. It is in a very heightened, over-the-top world. And I thought that was brilliant. The world this movie creates is so fascinating. I think The Substance will go down as one of those horror milestones that I was talking about. It's gonna be a classic, like 10 years' time. All right, I guess that's it. This was fun. It's fun to talk about 2024 movies. I hope 2024 was good to you, and I hope 2025 is maybe even better. Movies are great. Even when I'm going through a tough time, movies are what save me every time. They are my therapy. They are my church. I don't know what I'd do without them. I do have another movie I want to make in 2025. It's probably going to be a while before it comes out, but I'm excited about that. I'm excited for certain things that 2025 has to offer. All right, enough of my rambling. I will see you all in the next video. See ya, bye-bye.